My friends, today I want to talk to you about something that weighs heavy on the hearts of many. We live in a world full of frustrations, full of people who test our patience, full of situations that make us want to lose control. But I ask you, do you want to live as a prisoner of anger, or do you want to walk free, untouchable by the words and actions of others? Your ability to control your reactions determines the quality of your life. Many people walk through life as if they are puppets, their emotions pulled by the words and actions of others. If someone insults them, they lash out. If someone disagrees with them, they take offense. If circumstances don't go their way, they lose their peace. But is this truly living? Is it freedom to be controlled by every opinion, every criticism, every situation that does not meet our expectation? No, my friends, this is bondage. And today I want to tell you there is a way to be free. The moment you allow someone to make you angry, you give them power over you. The moment you let a stranger's words ruin your day, you have handed them the key to your emotions. Think about that. If a person can say something, do something, or act in a certain way, and it causes you to react in anger, then they are controlling you. But that is not how you were created to live. You were not meant to be a slave to other people's behavior. You were meant to rise above, to walk in peace, to be unshaken by the storms of life. But how do we get there? How do we reach a place where we are no longer controlled by our emotions? It begins with a shift in mindset. Too many people live under the illusion that others must treat them right for them to be happy. They believe that circumstances must align perfectly for them to have peace. But the truth is, peace is an inside job. It does not depend on what happens around you. It depends on what happens within you. Think about a great tree standing strong in the middle of a storm. The winds blow, the rains fall, but the tree does not move. Why? Because its roots go deep. It is anchored. In the same way, if your peace is rooted in something deeper than people's opinions, deeper than life's temporary struggles, then nothing will be able to shake you. Now, I am not saying that people won't test your patience. They will. There will always be someone who speaks harshly, someone who offends you, someone who does something that is unfair. But what they do is not what matters. It is how you respond that defines you. If you meet anger with anger, you become part of the problem. If you meet offense with more offense, the cycle continues. But if you meet it with wisdom, with patience, with a quiet strength, then you rise above it. One of the most powerful things you can do when someone tries to provoke you is simply not react. When words are thrown at you like stones, don't pick them up and throw them back. Just let them fall. Silence is not weakness. In fact, it takes far more strength to remain calm in the face of anger than it does to explode in rage. A person who is quick to anger is easily manipulated, but a person who can remain steady, who does not allow others to pull them into negativity, that is a person who has mastered their life. Every day you will face moments that test your patience. The driver who cuts you off, the coworker who speaks rudely, the family member who knows exactly what buttons to push. But these are not just annoyances, they are opportunities. Every time you refuse to let anger control you, you grow stronger. Every time you choose peace over offense, you gain more freedom. So today I challenge you, do not be a slave to your emotions. Do not let others dictate your happiness. When people try to upset you, when life does not go as planned, take a deep breath and remind yourself, you are in control of how you respond. And when you master your reactions, you master your life. It is easy to react to others based on what we see on the surface. When someone is rude, we assume they are simply mean-spirited. When someone lashes out, we take it personally. When people are impatient, dismissive, or unkind, we immediately become defensive. But have we ever stopped to ask ourselves, why? Why does this person behave this way? What are they carrying that we cannot see? What burdens, what wounds, what struggles might be shaping their action? Compassion is not about excusing bad behavior, but about understanding that people act out of their own pain, their own fears, their own experiences. A person who is cruel has often been treated cruelly. A person who is impatient may be carrying a weight they have not shared with the world. A person who constantly criticizes others may be battling deep insecurities within themselves. When we begin to see through the eyes of compassion, we no longer take offense so easily because we realize that their actions are not always about us. They are about what is happening inside them. Imagine walking down the street and someone bumps into you roughly without apologizing. Your first instinct might be to feel insulted, but what if you later find out that this person just received devastating news? Would your reaction change? Most likely, yes, because now you understand. You see the situation differently. This is what compassion does. It allows us to pause before reacting, to step outside of our own feelings and consider what another person might be experiencing. The truth is, we all have difficult days. We all have moments when we are not at our best. Have you ever been short-tempered because you were tired? Have you ever been impatient because you were stressed? Have you ever said something you didn't mean because you were dealing with something painful? If we can recognize this in ourselves, then we must also recognize it in others. Just as we want people to give us grace in our weaker moments, we must be willing to extend that same grace to them. This does not mean allowing others to walk all over us. Compassion is not the same as allowing disrespect. It simply means choosing to respond with understanding instead of anger. If someone speaks harshly to you, instead of reacting in the same way, pause and ask yourself, what might this person be going through? If someone is impatient with you, instead of taking offense, consider that they may be carrying an unseen burden. When you do this, you protect your own peace, because the moment you take things personally, the moment you let someone else's negativity control your emotions, you hand over your power. But when you respond with compassion, you remain in control, not just of your reactions, but of your inner peace. Think about the people who have made the greatest impact in your life. Chances are they were not the ones who reacted harshly when you made a mistake, but the ones who showed you patience, who took the time to understand you, who saw beyond your flaws and into your heart. That is the power of compassion. It heals, it transforms, it changes not only others, but also ourselves. When we choose to see people through the eyes of compassion, our world changes. We become less angry, less reactive, less easily offended. Instead, we become more patient, more understanding, more at peace. We stop expecting perfection from others, just as we do not expect it from ourselves. So the next time someone frustrates you, remember, everyone is fighting a battle you cannot see. Instead of reacting with anger, choose compassion. Instead of taking offense, choose understanding. When you do, you will not only protect your peace, but also become a light in a world that desperately needs more kindness. Many of us go through life believing that we must win every argument, prove every point, and come out on top in every disagreement. We feel the need to defend ourselves, to make sure others see things our way, to ensure that we are never misunderstood or underestimated. But what does this constant need to win truly bring us? Does it bring us peace? Does it bring us joy? Or does it leave us exhausted, frustrated, and tangled in unnecessary conflict? The truth is, the need to win is often a reflection of our ego, not our wisdom. It comes from a deep desire to be right, to be respected, to be in control. But real strength, real wisdom, real peace, these are not found in proving ourselves to others. They are found in knowing who we are, in being secure enough to let go of arguments that do not serve us, and in choosing peace over pride. Have you ever found yourself in a conversation where the other person was determined to misunderstand you? No matter how clearly you explained, no matter how much logic you used, they were not willing to listen. And yet you kept pushing, trying to make them see your point, trying to convince them that you were right. By the time the conversation ended, did you feel victorious or did you feel drained? Many times we walk away from these arguments not with a sense of peace, but with frustration. Why? Because we were fighting a battle that there is great power in silence and self-control. Yet in a world where everyone wants to be heard, where people rush to defend themselves, where arguments escalate over the smallest matters, silence is often seen as weakness. But true strength is not found in loud words or quick tempers. It is found in the ability to remain calm when others are not, to choose wisdom over reaction, and to respond with patience instead of anger. How often do we find ourselves in situations where emotions rise, where someone says something hurtful, where an argument seems unavoidable? The natural instinct is to fight back, to prove a point, to make sure we are not misunderstood. But what does this accomplish? Does shouting louder bring peace? Does reacting in anger solve the problem? No. More often than not, it only fuels the fire, leaving behind bitterness, regret, and broken relationships. There is wisdom in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every insult needs a response. Not every argument deserves our energy. When we learn to master our reactions, we free ourselves from the control of others. Because the moment you allow someone's words or actions to provoke you, you hand over your peace. You let them dictate your emotions. But when you choose silence, when you choose self-control, you take back that power. Silence is not about ignoring people or refusing to stand up for what is right. It is about responding with wisdom instead of impulse. There are moments when words are necessary, when we must speak truth, when we must correct misunderstandings. But there are also moments when silence speaks louder than any argument. A calm response in the face of anger can diffuse a situation faster than shouting ever could. A quiet heart in the presence of conflict can turn tension into peace. Think about the last time you reacted in anger. Did it make you feel stronger or did it leave you feeling drained? Did it improve the situation or did it only make things worse? When we lack self-control, we become slaves to our emotions. We allow frustration, pride, and ego to take over, and we act without thinking. But when we choose restraint, when we take a deep breath and hold back our immediate reaction, we give ourselves time to respond wisely. The strongest person is not the one who always has the last word, but the one who does not need to. The one who can walk away from conflict without feeling the need to prove anything. The one who understands that their peace is more valuable than their pride. When we practice self-control, we train ourselves to rise above the noise. We learn that not every criticism requires defense, not every insult requires retaliation, and not every disagreement needs to become an argument. We begin to see that silence is not about weakness, but about choosing what is truly important. Every day we will face situations that test our patience. The rude comment from a stranger, the misunderstanding at work, the disagreement with a loved one. But in each of these moments, we have a choice: to react in anger or to respond with wisdom, to let our emotions control us or to take control of our emotion. So the next time you are tempted to argue, to react, to let frustration take over, pause. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, will this matter tomorrow? Is this worth my peace? More often than not, the answer will be no. And when you learn to master your silence, when you learn to walk in self-control, you will find that life becomes lighter, relationships become stronger, and your heart becomes more at peace than ever before. Your mind is the battlefield where every struggle is won or lost. The way you think determines the way you live. If you allow yourself to be easily offended, easily angered, or easily discouraged, then you will always be at the mercy of others. But if you train your mind to rise above, if you discipline yourself to think differently, to respond differently, and to see life from a higher perspective, then nothing and no one will be able to shake your peace. Many people go through life reacting to everything that happens around them. If someone criticizes them, they feel insulted. If a situation doesn't go their way, they feel defeated. If people don't treat them the way they want to be treated, they feel unworthy. But the truth is, external circumstances should not control your internal peace. You cannot stop people from saying hurtful things. You cannot prevent every hardship, and you cannot control how others behave. But what you can control is your response. You can decide that no matter what happens, you will not let it bring you down. Training your mind to rise above means refusing to be controlled by negativity. It means learning to pause before reacting, to take a step back and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Is this worth my peace? Too often we waste our emotions on things that do not truly matter. A rude comment, a misunderstanding, a moment of frustration. These things can only affect you if you let them. But when you discipline your mind, when you refuse to dwell on negativity, you take back your power. One of the most powerful ways to train your mind is to shift your focus. Instead of looking at what's wrong, look at what's right. Instead of dwelling on what you've lost, focus on what you still have. Instead of letting small annoyances steal your joy, remind yourself of the bigger picture. The more you practice this, the stronger your mind becomes. Another key to rising above is learning to detach from what people think of you. Many people live in constant anxiety, worrying about how others see them, what others say about them, and whether they are being judged. But the truth is, no matter what you do, some people will misunderstand you, some people will criticize you, some people will not appreciate you. That is simply a fact of life. But when you rise above, when you stop seeking validation from others and find confidence in who you are, Their opinions lose their power over you. Think of a mountain. No matter how strong the winds blow, no matter how hard the storms hit, the mountain remains standing. It does not bend, it does not break, it does not move. That is what happens when you train your mind to rise above. You become steady, unshaken by life's difficulties. You refuse to let temporary troubles define you. You refuse to let negativity take root in your heart. It is not always easy. It takes practice. There will be days when you feel frustrated, when emotions try to take over, when you are tempted to react in ways that do not serve you. But every time you choose patience over anger, peace over stress, and wisdom over reaction, you grow stronger. Every time you decide to walk away from an argument instead of engaging in conflict, you build resilience. Every time you refuse to let a bad day turn into a bad life, you gain control over your own happiness. So train your mind to rise above. Do not be pulled down by negativity, by offense, by worry, or by fear. Choose to think higher, to see differently, and to walk in peace. When you do, you will find that life becomes lighter and nothing can steal your joy. True peace is not found in people, possessions, or circumstances. It is found in something unshakable. Too many people tie their sense of peace to things that can change, things that can be lost, things that are beyond their control. They feel at peace when life is going well, when people treat them right, when things are unfolding as expected. But the moment something goes wrong, the moment a challenge arises, their peace disappears. Why? Because they placed it in something temporary, something fragile, something that was never meant to hold it. If your peace depends on people, then you will always be disappointed. People are human. They make mistakes. They change. They have their own struggles. If your peace is based on being liked, being understood, or being treated a certain way, then you will constantly find yourself frustrated and hurt. You cannot control how others behave, but you can control whether their actions steal your peace. If your peace depends on success, then you will always be anxious. Achievements, wealth, and status can give temporary satisfaction, but they do not create lasting fulfillment. A career can change, money can be lost, and recognition can fade. If your sense of stability is based on these things, then your emotions will always be at the mercy of circumstances beyond your control. But when you anchor your peace in something deeper, something greater, then no setback, no failure, no challenge can take it away.